Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm doing one quick thing with my internet. Hello, YouTube. I'm setting up my Instagram live for the moment. All right, that should be good. Good. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we're live on. Where's my tea table? Okay, that's not. I don't love that. Whatever, green tea. I might have to dump. I might dump actually. I always do this. I always get going and then I realize there's something I forgot and I have to disappear. No, I'm not going to disappear. I'm here. I'm doing this. Hello, nobody knows. So today we have a very, very exciting tasting. Hou Kui. This is the Hou Kui tasting. That's a good angle. I like that. So we have the Hou Kui tasting. People requested Hou Kui this year, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Let me look into Hou Kui. Let's talk about Hou Kui for a second, because there's been a lot of different conversations about Hou Kui as I've posted about it. First and foremost, Hou Kui, yeah. Hou Kui is expensive. And this is from the maker. I assume he has good fields, but I assume it's not like the top fields of Hou Kui. I don't really understand. I don't know Hou Kong fields, because you have Hou Kong, which is the most famous village, and then you have lower fields, and then you have a mountain. But the mountain is like, I remember I walked up this long road in the mountain. I walked for like an hour, and I never really came across one field. I could see them kind of tucked away, but it's not. It's interesting. I should go back and look around more and ask them. I should go back and ask somebody to take that off-season. That's an off-season adventure. Maybe I'll ask this guy actually. Okay, so Hou Kui is expensive, and so this is about medium. I would say this is up the mountain, but this may not be the top Hou Kong, whatever. You know, because that stuff will get expensive. And it's I think it's with enough digging, it's available. But you're looking, I assume, from the farmer, 500 a pound from the farmer. And that would take a guess, and it could easily go higher. Okay. So, but this is not that expensive. But this is still Hou Kong. This is still this is the second time asking. The first time I asked from this maker. This is a maker I know. I actually know him from just around Twinchi, where I live. He used to work at a bar or something. And then I remember I went up to Hou Kong about a year or two ago. 2 years, last year actually. I was in Hou Kong last year, just walking through the village. And there he is. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, I live here. This is my home. So randomly just turned out he was from Hou Kong. And then this year he went into the tea business, as a lot of people did after COVID. You know, after COVID, when COVID hit, because COVID hit actually right before the tea season. Like, they ended COVID restrictions in Huangshan basically to allow the beginning of tea season. So what that meant actually quite a few people got more into tea as a way to make money, because business was bad and the job peripheral than Instagram. So here we go. So I bought from this guy before. I asked for high mountain heirloom variety, original variety. He sent me some. It was good, but it wasn't good enough. It didn't hit that level, which was the same thing people said when I sent it to them. Like, I sent to them as part of mystery boxes, and it still is available in the mystery box. So if I sell this, I'll probably put it side by side. And people would be like, wow, this is a great tea. You should sell it. And then I told them how much I would have to price it, and they were like, okay, not that good. That's the problem with Hou Kui. So here we go. These are the leaves we're looking at here. Move this over so I'm sure. Okay, good. These are the leaves we're looking at here. You know, I'm seeing, once again, I'm not too experienced in Hou Kui, so I can't say too much. I can't read into them too much. I will say one thing I do know is that thinner stems, I think, are generally better. Last year, I spent a couple of days helping a woman make completely handmade Hou Kui, and I asked her what to look for when you're looking at the dry leaves, and she said the stem actually. You don't want. I think it was in Chinese, and a year ago. So, you know, you don't want them too big. You want a nice, small, thin stem, which is pretty good. Yeah, so this, I realize I keep starting this sentence and stopping with my scale. So this is a Hou Kui that I'm using 4 grams, double gong dao based style, bottled, purified water. Actually, I'm going to use the tea boat. Yeah. Ooh, I'm not going to use the tea boat. I need to wash my tea boat. Basically, this was, so I bought the first tea from him. It was good, but it wasn't worth price. And so I said, I'd message him again. I was like, hey, do you have anything with a slightly later picking? Because what I assume is, because I messaged him early in the season, so I think he sent me one of the earlier picks. And as you guys know, if you've listened to me, I tend to enjoy the later picks. They tend to just have a little bit more flavor, a little more developed. And when I say later picks, I mean I tend to enjoy the second pick. So I still like those early picks, but it's kind of that first pick that I find is a little too light. And this was actually a sentiment he seemed to agree with, because I asked him, I was like, hey, do you have a later pick? Do you have one a little bit bigger? And he goes, yes. And then he even said that it was going to taste better, that it was a better tea. So I'm going to drop that in. We're going to do 4 grams. This is my first tea of the day, which is going to be very nice. Bam. Nice and packed, nice and full. I want to chill for a second more. Hou Kui having bigger leaves, I can have the water temperature be a little higher than, let's say, Mao Feng. Yeah, I should really just go get my tea bowl. This is a lot of spilling water next to a lot of electricity. Yeah, I do. Talking about double gong day, if we're talking about the gong dao based style, I do tend to kind of lean towards that. It's what I was taught when I was taught to brew green teas, so it's what I have the most experience in. I do want to get more used to using gaiwans, because I know a lot of people use gaiwans for green tea, and so a lot of the questions, tea leaf in my throat. So a lot of the questions I get for brewing green tea are using gaiwans. It has a nice smell. It's a really nice smell, buttery, soft. It was a good sign that when I first opened the tin, that aroma popped out. You know, that is For me, that is a good sign when the aroma pops out, and in the bag and the aroma didn't pop out, and it was my first sign that it wasn't good. I will say though, especially, I can't really, so I do want to get used to the Gongdao, the Gaiwan style. So what I'm actually doing, it's a very interesting question. What I'm actually doing is I'm judging it by the leaf. In this first steep, what I'm looking for, which is about what we're doing here, the first steep, and it's a little easier when they float. The first steep, I'm waiting for the leaf to lose its dried appearance, to start looking wet. Another thing you can do, and this is a big benefit of the Gongdao Bei, is you can smell it. You go, okay, this, by smelling it, you know how much, where the the flavor is. So I'm gonna pour. That's part of, I think that's a big part of Gongdao Bei's brewing. It might have been too early. Might have gotten too excited. It's definitely too early. It's basically just water. I got excited. Okay, but it's too late. That was much too early. And because, like I said, it's a little more difficult when. Oh yeah, I should have really got my tea boat. Ooh! I have this tea boat right now, right here, that's been collecting dust for like, God, more than a year. I stopped using this one a long time ago, which is a shame because it's in the shape of like lily pads. Wonderful. Now I can just do this. Ugh, it's too late. I do. So yeah, and it's a little trickier with Hou Kui because when the tea leaves float, it's much easier to judge that. Because when they're smaller, you can kind of see them open up. Hou Kui, and I kind of wish I'd used a bigger Gongdao Bei. This was very scrunched up. This was very crushed. Not crushed, but what's the word I'm looking for? There wasn't a lot of room. And so maybe the color is just really light. So always leaving a little bit at the bottom. Hello, Heidi. Yeah, that's actually. It's understeeped, but it's understeeped, so it's a little tricky to judge. Notes are not developed enough, and it's interesting because I'm getting touches of things. I'm getting hints of things, and maybe this is going to come out. Maybe this is going to come out, but I'm also it's not developed, which is also kind of a flag in my head. Actually, it's nice. There's a nice finish to it. Some good flavors in there. I always I jokingly call Hou Kui Longjing's. Longjing's. I had a good word. I had a good short version. Basically, Longjing's cousin who got jacked in prison, like Longjing's cousin who went to prison and like came back like jacked prison cousin. Longjing's jacked prison cousin. And the reason I say that is because Hou Kui, which is what I'm drinking, I got new Hou Kui from the maker. Hou Kui has similarities to Longjing. There is a similar level of vegetalness, and something that might be called chestnut aroma, a chestnut flavor. And here's the interesting, or chestnut note, and they interplay with each other in a very similar way as Longjing, where kind of the vegetalness is the backdrop, and the chestnut is a very complementary. They complement very nicely, but like veginess is the backdrop, but like chestnut is the star. Heidi, hopefully your package comes, Heidi. I'm watching it like a hawk. Apparently, this is what a hawk looks like. But where Hou Kui differs from Longjing is that, first of all, we're talking about bigger leaves, so it's that vegetalness is just different. It's a little more bold. It's a little more not like bold, but also not confident. I'll say not overly vegetal. Hou Kui shouldn't be vegetal, like an overly vegetal tea, like let's say Luan Guapian is vegetal. But and actually here's a good way to put it, because it's the chestnut note too, where Longjing, it's more like aromas, chestnut aroma, chestnut fragrance, chestnut, hints of chestnut. Hou Kui chestnut, it's vegetal. It goes from being like hints of this in complexity to boom, solid, clear, subtle, like soft, not, once again, not strong, not if you I don't love the vegetal flavor. Like as much as I'm interested in Luan Guapian, it's not one of my favorite teas because I don't particularly love the vegetal flavor. I've gotten into many arguments about this. But that being said, I still enjoy this flavor tea. And I recognize it as vegetal, but it's not vegetal. The one thing I'm really, really looking at, and I'm a little worried about, the one thing I'm keeping an eye on, and this is going to be kind of maybe the make or break of this case, is the refreshingness, is the, how refreshing is it? How clean is it? I do want something with a nice to it. I'm looking for that. That's what I'm looking for. And it's I think the second Steve too is I'm really looking for some defined flavors. I really want notes with finishes and in the mouth and clarity. I think that's a good way to put it, actually. Notes with finishes. I'm gonna heat up my water a little bit. I have been asked to get a new. I have not been asked to get a new kettle. I have been offered for someone who watches to get me a new kettle because they are frustrated at my hotel kettle that I use. It is in the cards. It is in the cards. For personal reasons or for non-tea reasons, not super personal, but for non-tea reasons, I had a financial plan that got chucked out the window when some stuff happened. So a new kettle is in the cards. It does make me have to be careful, though. This is really hot. And it's interesting because, and that's the thing. It's not bad. My problem with this kettle is that it does tend to go into. It tends to boil a little too high for me. It boils too high, and yeah, and that's not even a thing, and that's fine. I just have to be a little more careful when I'm letting my waters cool. because it boils too high and then I don't know the word. It traps the heat, and because it's a nice thick kettle. I did this on purpose, probably. Ooh, that's a color. Hello. What are you? Hello, Mr. Color. Hello. I do want to see who's here. Wonderful. Look at that. Wow. Notice how it's green, but it's like it has a color to it. Insulated, yeah, that's the word. Yeah, there it is. And so I can't which is fine sometimes, but other times if I want to boil the kettle and then let it cool in the kettle, it won't really cool in the kettle as fast. Like I need to be super fucking careful with that. Like a normal kettle, you can, if let's say I'm brewing red teas, you bring it to boil and you let it cool and it cools at a normal rate, this won't cool as much. And I have to be careful with this kettle. That kettle, we do have one little loose leaf in there. That color though, it's green, but it's bright. And it's lively, even though it's translucent and you can see through it. And I don't know, I think the camera's picking it up pretty well. Obviously, it's going to lose a little bit. Even though it's translucent and it's see-through, transparent. Sorry, there is a color to it, which is very, very interesting. It's like neon. It's the way like a neon light will shine, which is kind of the feeling I'm getting from this color. Once again, I am, I've had here and there in Huangshan, but never really gotten into Hou Kuis like that. Oh, okay. Okay. About a thermos. I'll talk about this flavor in a second. A thermos, I should be more used to a thermos living in China because everyone fucking brews tea with a thermos. And this thermos is everywhere for tea water. I really should be much more used to it. And it is something I want to look into. I should get used to because I want to start drinking more teas outside, which is what thermoses are great for. And never too much, because this is usually how I drink tea by myself, in my tea room. But I do know thermos is a big thing. Do you use thermoses? Whole lot of flavor, first of all. Yeah, thermos is like almost a whole different style of brewing tea. Like that tea thermos life, that's like a lifestyle. I feel like that's a lifestyle. This is strong. It's strong. This is strong. There's a lot of flavor here. And I am, one of the things that always makes me hesitant. One of the things that's making me hesitant to put Hou Kui on the website. The thing that, like, of all the time I spent I went to Wuishan 10 fucking times before I finally put that one Hou Kui on the website that's on the website now. And I had great Hou Kuis that even looking back, I'm like, yeah, I could have put that on the website and been happy. But what's because I'm always what I want before I put a tea on the website is I want a good frame of reference for that tea, so I know exactly where that tea falls in the in the spectrum of that tea. Um, and I think that's what's giving me hesitation right now. It's good though. I do think it's good. There's some nice savoriness at the tip of the tongue. That chestnut thing is in the back, and that's what I meant by flavor notes kind of having beginnings and like how did I phrase it before? Flavor notes having endings, like a beginning and an end, where it's not just like characteristics on a good tea. They have a beginning and an end. You drink the tea and it's not like strawberries everywhere, or it's not like chestnut everywhere. And I think this is when we talk about over vegetal. It's just everywhere vegetal. A good flavor has this beginning and an end. Right now, it's savory on the tip of the tongue, and then you get halfway down the tongue, and that's where that savoriness ends. Oh yeah, no, the rogueway, the achievement is starting to break my heart to talk about, because I don't think it's going to be back. That's going to be heartbreaking. I'm so glad you can try that, because that's going to hurt for a while. Oh man, I wish I had bought so much more of that achievement. I'm not usually a guy about regrets, but I wish I had bought so much more of that achievement. Even if it was only for my own personal drinking. Yeah, wow. Hey, man, it's gonna be a long time in China eventually, especially as I start focusing more on achievements and really looking for it. There's a touch of bitterness. It's a slightly later pick, and slightly later. I think it's like the next pick, so we could be talking about a few days. Hey, Schmitty. Hou Kui. Hou Kui. If they did a Hou Kui, Rogue, oh my God, if they did a Hou Kui, they could call it monkey meat. No, Hou Kui, monkey cinnamon. Actually, really interesting. Monkey cinnamon. I like how those leaves are really. Let's turn it around. This one has a nice view. Leaves are really opening up. Interesting thing about Hou Kui, and this is something I've touched on before. There's Hou Kui is expensive. A lot of it is branding and marketing and stuff like that. A lot of people will point to Hou Kui being expensive because of the hand making, like that 1x1 folding, and it doesn't help. Hou Kui definitely needs a lot of hands. It's definitely the Hou Kui makers, which is interesting now that I think about it, because yesterday I talked about how like Mao Feng makers don't usually hire help, because you can pick Mao Feng in the morning and then process it at night, because it's only really one step, 2 steps. But Hou Kui, now that I think about it, they do want that folding, so there is help they need to get hired. But I will say this folding is getting more and more mechanized. OG folding was 1x1, fold, done. Fold, press, like by hand, which is actually what I did last year. It sucked. I mean, it was interesting, but like, yeah. And then they had that like second machine where they fold it, but they don't press it by hand anymore. You know, they used to press it, and this was hard because you have this leaf and you have to press it. You have to press it, and what pressing it is it's actually breaking the stem because there's all this moisture locked in the stem, and if you don't break it, that moisture is going to stay in there. And it's funny when you break it that you feel it. You feel it and you hear it. This little a little snap. You can feel it break. You break it, and the moisture can leave. If you ever look at Hou Kui and there's a little bit of red in the stem, that's what that red is. That red is just a little bit of moisture that got caught in there, which is just super fucking normal. Means nothing about quality or making or anything. Just, yeah, that's just, you need to get in there. And then so you have the second level though, where they put it into the shape, but then they have a roller, you know, and this is what you see a lot. It's like a giant ass rolling pin, and they go boom. Great, that's the second level. Third level, and that's you see that, and then you see the mechanized roller, because the OG roller is a man who just pushes it and pulls it. Then they created a machine roller. The guy just has to hit a button, boom. But now what you're seeing mechanized more is that folding. You know, it used to be like right now, and you're seeing this more and more. You still have a table of IEs, and they still need to take the leaves one by one and put it. It used to be the and it got rolled. But now they just have to like straighten the leaf out, like, you know, they just have to lay it flat, shoot it through a machine, and the machine will actually fold it. And the machine will not even fold it, but just put it into that shape, which, you know, so instead of them having to kind of twist or fold, they just lay it flat. And so, you know, we're getting more machines. It's getting a little less handmade. The price isn't exactly dropping. No one's from everything I've seen, and maybe if I looked into it a little more, it would be cheaper. It's possible. I could be wrong. But I don't think anyone's saying, "Hey, we didn't work as hard on this, so we're gonna make it a little cheaper." I think they're saying, "Hey, we don't have to work as hard to sell teas at the exact same price." So I think that's pretty solid. So that's the interesting about Hou Kui, that like the story of Hou Kui, the story of Hou Kui making, handmade, hand folded, one by one, super tedious. It's true, but it's not true. It's in this weird yeah, the ladies have to take it out and have to take the tea out one by one, but then they feed it through a machine. But then it gets rolled by a machine. But then, you know, and and I think it differs from house to house. And once again, I haven't looked into Hou Kui too much, and so maybe there are clear levels. Maybe, in fact, I would assume. Actually, let me backtrack on this a little bit. Let me backtrack, because I think I might have gone a little bit too far. Because what I've seen, I have gone through Hou Gu, and I have popped into houses. You know, looked at this house, look at that making, look at that making. But what I have seen, there's a good chance that's from the lower mountains. You know, that kind of the village level fields, basically, not up the mountain, not the high mountain. And so lower mountains are going to sell for a lower price. You know, just the flavor's not that good. No one's going to want to pay this higher price for not as good of a tea. So maybe it's just the lower mountains that are more mechanized. And there's a good chance that when you go up the mountain, it's a little, and once again, it's not going to be completely handmade. But once you go up the mountain, where you're dealing with higher mountain teas, there is a chance it's less mechanized. I do think that rolling is pretty standard. I think the shaching being machined is pretty standard, even in Longjing. But I guess thinking about that folding step, definitely for the lower mountain stuff, it's getting more mechanized. Maybe for the higher mountain, but I can't say that with confidence yet. It's good. It's good. It's good. No, it's good. You know, it's all these flavors before have kind of come together nicely. The vegetalness has a kind of pea note to it. It's a little bit savory. It is a good tea. It is a good tea. I think this, once again, it's hard without, like, I can taste a Mao Feng one time and know if it's website worthy or not. I can just be like, bam, yes, yes. I can be like, no, 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 yes, no, no, no. Hou Kui, I gotta be a little more careful. Just for my own personal standards. My own personal standards, and especially for Hou Kui, where Hou Kui is not going to be cheap. It's going to be about twice the price of the Mao Feng, to be completely honest. And I can do some sampler boxes where you can get tastes of Hou Kui. You know, I can do some stuff like that. But Hou Kui is not going to be cheap. And so I want a tea that when people drink it, they feel like they got their money's worth. And that's going to be a tricky one for Hou Kui. That's going to be a tricky one for Hou Kui. That will be a tricky one. Because it's so expensive, and because, yeah, mostly because it's so expensive. You know, we're looking at, like, if I price this at 30, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll cut the margins a little bit, I'll cut the margins a little bit, and allow people to try it and see what people's reactions are. Because that would be my other question. I'm curious what people would think of this Hou Kui, or just Hou Kuis. It does look nice. I'm going to try it a few times. It's going to take me about 2 or 3 tastings. It took the last Hou Kui 3 tastings before I was just like, no, can't do it. Not on the website. This Hou Kui is going to take some tastings. If you guys are interested, even before it's officially, if it does, I will put it. If you guys are interested, you can send me a message, and I can give it to you via mystery box. Yeah. He is from Hou Gu. He is from the core region, but he used to live in my town. But this is the next picking. And so you are seeing a little bolder, a little more developed, a little rounder. That's actually a good tasting. Maybe I'm going to do the 2 Hou Kuis next to each other. That's a really good idea. Yeah, that needs to happen. That definitely needs to happen. Yeah, big old leaves. Big old leaves. Now I'm going to pour the whole thing out. Take a look at some leaves, y'all. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. Look at them big boys. It's good. And I think also before in the next week. So here's my plan for the next week. In the next week, I'm going to taste. I'm going to taste this a few more times. I'm going to go to my friend's shop. I need to look actually. I think the Hou Gu. I haven't had the Hou Gu because I'm trying to save it for people. Oh, how's it? How is it going? It can be a little tricky to get into, but once you get into it, I like it. How's the experience on that? I'm glad. I'm glad to hear it. Uh, favorite mouth. I mean, this when I first tried the Hou Gu, the Monkey Valley, that was so. Last year was my favorite. Last year it was my favorite, and then this year was better than last year. So when I first tried it, that was my favorite. I do need to try it though against the Chashans because the Chashans are better this year too. So, and I haven't. I've been trying to. I've been so busy tasting other stuff. I haven't really gone back to the Hou Gu, the Monkey Valley. But right off the top of my head, I would say the Hou Gu is my favorite. And then the Chashans. The Shishian is good. Shishian is definitely good. It's definitely website worthy. Yeah, I think it lacks that savory. You know, the Shishian is so much more in the aroma. It gives so much more complexity in the aroma than let's say the Hou Gu's. But and that's what I look for. I really like a good body. I'm not a crazy aroma guy. All right. So you got to give me about a week of tasting this, tasting other other Hou Kuis, see where this one falls. It is immediately available in mystery boxes. If you just shoot me a message and say, "Hey, I want the," if you get a mystery box of any price, get them. If you just want like 2 samples, get a $5 mystery box. And yeah, and I can send you this Hou Kui and the other Hou Kui, so you guys can get into Hou Kuis. I would actually like to see. There is no average. I am seeing shipping times all over the fucking map. 2 weeks minimum. 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say. 3 weeks maybe. Say about 3 weeks. 3 weeks, but I have ones that have gotten in faster. I have ones that have been just disappeared. Yeah, I've been watching one lady. I sent her some stuff a long time ago. Sent her stuff afterwards, and then the other day she was like, "Hey, my first package never came in." It's coming from China stuff. I'd say about 3 weeks. I'd say about 3 weeks is a safe bet. You might get lucky. It might come sooner. You might get unlucky. It might come later. But well, I'll say okay. Let me So it takes about a little less than a week to get my house to the shipper, and for the shipper to send it out. It takes about 4 or 5 days for that because I'll send it to the shipper, which takes about 2 days. If the shipper has good communication, she'll tell me the day she gets it. Sometimes she doesn't. So it's add a day there. Once again, if the shipper has good communication, she'll look about 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Yeah. I mean, and this is what, every now and then I got to appreciate modern times we live in. 3 weeks from China to America, unheard of. Like, if you know, if you even know the basics of like the clipper ships, these ships that would like, you had these ships that were just designed to go super fucking fast. And the goal was to take teas from China to the West. And they were designed, these were like the fastest ships people could make. Months. It was months at sea. And so, and that was the fastest. And so like 3 weeks, yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. You're not going to lose any freshness in 3 weeks. No, really not bad at all. Crazy, great times we live in. Great times. Great time, but I did just following anything about what's going on in Palestine right now. Palestine and Israel. That's getting kind of bad. That can't last. All right, but I don't want to get political here. All right. Give me about a week. I'm gonna taste this one a few more times. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to my friend's shop and see what Hou Kui is. Yeah, it's you okay? So I really recommend touching on without talking about Palestine. I really recommend everyone watches Trevor Noah just did a segment about Palestine, and it's just, and I watched it, and it's Trevor Noah. They show Trevor Noah. First of all, you know, Trevor Noah took the Daily Show from Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart's Daily Show was legendary. And Trevor Noah took over, and Trevor Noah has brought same quality, but in a different way. You know, it's the same, like, there's no lack in quality, but it's just Trevor Noah just did his own thing, and the way he did it and what he's doing is amazing. Like, I watched it, and like, I'm watching it, and I almost forgot this used to be Jon Stewart's. And that because Jon Stewart and Trevor Noah just had two different directions. Really recommend. Yeah, and I really enjoyed the fact where he was just like, okay, if you look at this event, it looks like it's Israel's fault. But then if you go back, it looks like it's Palestine. But then if you go back, he touches on that complexity of everything. That like that rough, not really a starting point, not really yeah. But it's really complex, and it's so complex. Really, really complex. All right. Definitely worth checking out. That whole situation is one. If you're gonna keep an eye on anything in the news, because Israel just brought down a building. Okay, we're not gonna go there. All right. Before I say anything political, I am gonna end this. I have thought about, though, and this would be kind of when the tea season ends and in wintertime when things are slower. Because I know One River Tea has done videos where they talk about philosophy and, you know, these bigger ideas. And so I wonder if there's a space for that. I wonder if there's a way to make that a thing. Yeah, that. Maybe I'll work with One River Tea on something. All right, so that's it. I'm going to go. Oh, we are going to end on one new note. Everyone, this is Johnny Dogs. Dog. But I'm not drinking tea, I'm doing dogs. All right, that's Johnny Dogs. Hopefully you're going to see more of him in the future. You'll probably see more of him. I'll bring him on some tea trips. He is an American Staffordshire Terrier. I do have an Instagram for my dogs if everyone's interested. Yeah. All right. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you guys. Thanks for the love. Shoot me messages about the teas, about questions, about chatting. I love chatting with people about anything. See you. All right, YouTube. I feel bad that I got to show Instagram my dogs, but I can't show YouTube. I kind of want to pick him up, but he's sleeping. Yeah, let him sleep. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Wonderful. That's it. All right. You know, I don't quite have a frame of reference for Hou Kui that I can immediately say, hey, this is what this Hou Kui is. You know, for Mao Feng, I have a pretty good fucking, if I do say so myself, I have a pretty good fucking frame of reference. And so, because I've been drinking it for 4 fucking years. And so Hou Kui, Mao Feng, I can taste it one time and I can know what's going on the website or not. This one I can't. This one I got to taste a few times, taste some others, even that. And that's, yeah, it's going to be about $30 because we can't make it better than that. What is my hair? All right, that's it. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.